Tell them I asked they should come in now or don't come in because it bothers them. Blame me. You can blame me. Huh? Whoever comes late is an excuse. Whoever's here and doesn't come inside, so then it's no excuse. So we saw yesterday the big sugi of grass, and today I'm going to tell you maybe something which is a davar nifla. Let's see here. We saw yesterday the Taz and the Mogad Avram nani achreinim. It's definitely not a pashut thing to move around grass. That's for sure. That we saw yesterday that really it seems to be that the Shittas Mishabura is that it's mutter to move grass on Shabbos. We'll see how that makes a practical nafkamina. But the Taz, the Mogen Avram, the Pri Megadim, the Tiferes Yisrael, it's a case where there's a leaf and he says, you're going to touch the leaf even though the tree stands still. So that's the wrong thing. The leaf moves. Tiferes Yisrael, the Graz, the Baltanya, the Kitzer, they all say strongly that you're not allowed to move a davar that's mechubet to the karka. You're not allowed to move grass on Shabbos. And that's a sheet of I don't want to say it's roiv achrein, but it's definitely they have half. They have at least half. I think they might have roiv. They have a large percentage. We saw yesterday that the Beis Yehuda and the El Rabba, the Taisus Shabbos, of course, the Mishabura seem to all say that grass is not moksa. That's what brought out this great issue. Today I'm going to tell you davar nifla. Let's see. Hopefully we'll get there. But that's the machlekes. So it seems to be the Mishabura says. Mishabura we saw yesterday. Mishabura says in Furish, in Siman Shin Yud Beis, in Sivkat Yud Zayin, Mishabura is in Siman Shin Yud Beis, and Sivkat Yud Tes. In a few places over there, he's talking about a person that wipes himself with grass. And the Mishabura says clearly, he says, I'll read you the second one. Yesterday we read the one in Yud Tes. Here's in Yud Zayin, Yikaner Basavim, Delay Ave Muksa. On that Mishabura, the Mogen Avram says, yes, it is Muksa. And it says the only way to wipe yourself on grass is if you go back and forth with your body. So it's a big machlekes. Is grass muksa? Is grass not muksa? And of course, the ramifications could be tremendous, right? Sounds like from the Mishnah Berurah, things that are attached could never be muksa. That's the simple way of learning the Mishnah Berurah. And that's the klor, that's the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah we saw yesterday in Shin Lamed Vav and Sivkot and Memches. Mishnah Berurah says you can take the hadas in your hand, you take the what's hadas in English? The myrtle branch, I think. You take the myrtle in your hand and you can bring it towards you. If it's attached, adasim are attached, and you can bring it towards you, even though it's attached to the ground. It's attached to the ground. Mishnah Berurah says mefurish, you can take it, bring it towards you, and smell it. Mefurish Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says mefurish by the kanamarakim. What are the kanamarakim? There's some type of like large pieces of grass. Mishnah Berurah says mefurish, you can take it in your hand and bring it towards you. Mefurish in Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah is barer that grass and rakim and hadasim, all these things you can move. And in every one of these cases, the Taz, the Pri Megadim, the Tiferes Yisrael, the Graz, the Kitzer, they all argue. And they say grass and all types of things that are attached to the ground, you're not allowed to move. That's what we saw yesterday. We ended this year with the Grace Akasha. And then today I thought I had to come in and then be chayzer because I have a big kasha on myself, and I see it could be Zman Misharaya. Let's see when we get there. The Mishabura and Sivkot and Pei Aleph in our and that's how we got here. Mishabura and Shin Ches Pei Aleph talks about this vine, and the Mishabura says chloride. He says you have this vine and you want to attach some type of a bucket to it, whatever the case is over here. And Mishabura says that vine is muksa. But it's muksa, it's a vine, Mishabura doesn't even down the child. He says, of course it's muksa. He says, Mishum muksa, you can't even be miyachid it. What do you want to do? You want to be miyachid this item and say that she's not muksa. I'm miyachid it, I'm using it specifically for a delete. Mishabura says, unbelievable rate here. He says, no, you can't do that. Unless it's less than 3 tefachim, he has a whole radio. Okay, it's not our sugya, but he says over here, a vine is muksa. So this is a blatant stira. This is a blatant stira. Mishabura says, and so much so, I saw it last night that the Tila David asks on the Taisus Shabbos. Mishabura is quoting the Taisus Shabbos in regard to the grass. Like grass, the Taisus Shabbos says, how can the Taz say grass is muksa? Of course it's not muksa. And the Taisus Shabbos brings down this idea by a zmoira, by a vine. He says a vine is muksa. So the Tila David says, you're a stira. You're a steer. If grass is not muksa, so then a vine is not muksa. Mamashar kasha. Remember the Tila David asked the kasha, but this he frags up the Taisa Shabbos, and he says the Balatanya is right. The Balatanya says grass is muksa and vines are muksa and all these things are muksa. Right? The Baba Chiyid has to know, and he's not allowed to move grass on Shabbos. The grass is machmir. He has to know that. The grass is machmir. And it doesn't matter whatever we're going to answer today about vines and whatnot, that's the answer for the Mishnah Berurah. That's the answer for the Mishnah Berurah. So yesterday, we saw potential tirutzim. Okay? Well, one potential teretz is we had a problem yesterday. To go with Rabbi Yehuda Ayash and to say, like the Beis Yehuda, that he says, muksa, b'mechuber, no such thing. It's a stira to say muksa, to say something that's attached is muksa, no such thing. That's the Beis Yehuda's malach. It's not going to work here. Because you see, a vine, the chayra, I don't know, the Beis Yehuda was a very big achar, and it could be he'll argue on Zmayr too. I don't have any reason to believe that. If you're an Einikal of Rabbi Yehuda Ayash, so then you could also move a Zmayr around. You can move a vine around on Shabbos. He says, Muksa can't be by Mechuber. The timing don't apply. Mechuber is something which is inherently not shaykh to Muksa. Muksa means that, the Gzeir of Muksa is you're going to come to carry it out. I can't carry it out. It's attached to the ground. We're not chayshid, you're going to rip it off. So but that doesn't work here in the Mishnah Berurah. Doesn't work in the Mishnah Berurah. There's another teretz I said yesterday from the Shvisas Shabbos. The Shvisas Shabbos, he says the teretz that muksa b'mechuber, when it's like this, has a din of like a tiltal minatzad. It doesn't mean a tiltal minatzad. It means like it's a tiltal b'mixus, excuse me. Like a tiltal, like a minor tiltal, because it's just so far you could go since you're attached, right? According to that, I still don't understand Zmayra. I don't understand Zmayra. He says first that you're attached, so that's not considered as a total tiltal, because there's always a part that's not moving. That's how he explained it. There's always a part that's not moving. And he goes on to say, therefore, grass, since there's always a part that's not moving, if you move the grass for a positive purpose, for a purpose that's mutter, so then that's going to be mutter. It's like a tiltal minatzad type of svar. Tiltal b'mixus is mutter when it's being done for a positive purpose, for a Shabbostic purpose. And if that would be the case, so then, first of all, the Mishnah Berurah, if that's the case, is very sussum. Because the Mishnah Berurah, when he talks about grass, he says grass is not muksa. Now, I'm masking the case of the Mishnah Berurah is he's wiping himself. The person's wiping himself. But it's very sussum. The Mishnah Berurah should have said, he shouldn't have said grass is not muksa. He should have said grass is quasi muksa, which is mutter l'tzayrech, wiping. It's not true to say the words. It's lo yave muksa. It's not a good lashon. He should have said lo yave tiltal. According to the Shvisas Shabbos, it is muksa, but it's a muksa that since you're not totally moving it, it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate. The way that the Shvisas Shabbos says it wouldn't help us for the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says the words that grass is not muksa. He should have said it's muksa, but it's not total tiltal. It's a tiltal b'mixus, which is mutter for the purpose of it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate. L'chayra. What? And also Zmayr doesn't work. Zmayr also doesn't work. So no matter what, the Mishnah Berurah can't be. I'm just showing you that all over the Mishnah Berurah can't be. The Chayr that Shvisas Shabbos, what's he going to do? Zmayr got to look, and he seems to address it. And Ayin Sham, it's Ayin Sham. But Al Kapanim. So now we're left to figure this out ourselves. Left to figure this. Elamai. There's a mahalach from the great Goyin Rosh Shlomo Zalman. I saw Rosh Shlomo Zalman. He's brought down it's also in Minchas Shlomo. Also in the Shulchan Shlomo, lots of the Shloimos, they all bring down this Rosh Hashanah. I didn't fully understand it. And then I saw that Reb Nissen, Zechariah Levracha, in the 55th page, he says like a similar idea. He says. I'll tell you what they're saying. I just did a little bit more from Reb Nissen. But the idea they're saying is that being attached to the ground is not a reason to make something muksa. That's not, the fact that you're attached to the ground doesn't make you muksa. I don't care about attachment or not attachment. I want to know what would be your status if you were not attached. Are you something that wouldn't be muksa? Like grass, right? Grass, if you wouldn't be attached to the ground. So Reb Nissen says, so what would the grass be used for? Again, what this has to do with today's grass, we'll modernize this in a moment. We'll get to 2020 in a moment. But just, the idea. Grass then was used for animal food. Grass was used to wipe yourself. I mean, that's what you see over here. So therefore, grass is something that clearly when it's detached, it's not muksa. It had a usage, at least then. So therefore, it's not now, yes, muksa, that's not attached. Like if Yachol, the etzim fact that it's detached would make it not muksa. So when it's attached, that's not going to be enough of a reason to say there's aksa in it because it's attached. That's what he says. That's what he says. Anybody understand what I'm saying? That's what he says. Rabbi Spivey, understand what I'm saying? Yeah? What am I saying? I don't understand what I'm saying. I don't understand what I'm saying. No, I don't understand what I'm saying. Sometimes like, Rabbi say, is it easy to wipe yourself with grass that's attached? I'll give you two choices. The answer is either yes or no. What's the answer? Harder. Not geschmack. You think twice before eating, Cholem. Right? When you know, no, listen, I want a level of maturity. Okay? You're going to think twice before you eat if you know that you're going to have to wipe yourself with cut grass. Sorry, wait one second. If you know you're going to have to wipe yourself with cut grass, you're going to think twice. If you know you're going to have to wipe yourself with non-cut grass, you're going to think 3 times. Right? Okay. So I don't know. And also animal food, right? They eat it when it's detached. Right? They don't eat it when it's attached. What do I mean? They cut it off and then they eat it. So it becomes food when they cut it off. I don't know why that's called animal food when it's attached to the ground. I don't know. There's something here. But you know what? Wait, slowly. Rabbi say, wait, slowly. So, but then I'm picking a fight straight with Rav Nissen and Rav Shalom Zalman. That wouldn't be smart. Mishnah Berurah is my first not like this. Where's the Mishnah Berurah in first not like this? Thank you. Mishnah Berurah and Sivkat and Chavdal. Mishnah Berurah and Mishnah Lamed Vav Sivkat and Chavdal. Mishnah Berurah says this person ran a marathon and now he looks at his the finger lock on his feet. And Mishnah Berurah says, and what does he have there? He has grass. Do you know that Mabel the cow is walking after him? Yummy. He's got all that grass on his foot there, right? And some guy that just had a big meal. Can I borrow the stuff on your feet? What? Now, and don't you dare go and say, oh no, nobody would wipe them. I say, Devis wiped me. Whoever wipes himself with grass, fregnished. Okay? Is it animal food? The cows won't eat it because it's on his foot. The Mishnah Berurah says it's muksa when it's on his foot. He says grass is muksa when it's on his foot. Why? Why is it muksa when it's on its foot? Rav Nissen told us, Rav Shalom Zalman told us. So they could argue. I don't know. I don't think you can argue on the Mishnah Berurah, but I'm saying this is shver. I don't know. Very shver to say that's pshat in the Mishnah Berurah. What? Sorry. First of all, it's not true in halacha, but even if it would be. What? Is not kagazidami. That's for sure not true. If you that, I could bite my nails in Shabbos. Chalila. Kol oimid ligzais is not kagazidami. Kol oimid lizraik is kazarik dami. Derech agav, I had it the other day on Shabbos. I forgot to tell the oilam. There was a tablecloth that was being pulled, and something glass was about to fall off and break on the floor. Now it happens to be it was glass and it was a davar shel heter. It happens to be a davar shel. But I was thinking, what if it would have been a davar shel? Let's say it would have been like a light or something like that, light. But a candlestick, that has one of the lights on it or something like that, right? And you know that the second you pull the tablecloth, it's going to fall on the floor and smash, right? I was thinking this svara. I mean, I don't know. Tell me what you think. I was thinking kala oimid, like you're saying, right? Kala oimid to fall is already klapi that could be enough kamina. Something that's already oimid to be falling, we see it as already broken. So what am I going to do? I'm going to wait till it's on the floor when I'm going to have a heter to pick it up and to move muksa on Shabbos? You understand what my question is? What am I going to do? I'm going to have to wait till it falls on the floor and now the heter of muksa that they weren't geyser muksa b'makim hezek. Or no, we're not going to tell you have to wait till it actually falls on the floor in order to get the heter. Why should I have to wait till it breaks? Why don't we say kol oimid lipos k'neifel dami? What? Come again? That was something else. That was more mitzad svara. That was a little bit different. That was mitzad the fact that I was afraid when it was going to fall and I won't be around and it will cause hezek. It's not exactly the same. There I made a svara once. If you have something on the table and you want to go to sleep and you know that there's kids here, by the time you come down, it's going to be on the table. It's going to be on the floor. The heter is the hezek. There the heter is the hezek. Here's worse. There the heter is that it's going to fall on the floor and someone will get hurt. That's it. So the heter is hezek. Chazal didn't geyser tiltul muksa b'makim damage. Here's not the same. Here, no one's going to get hurt because right away I'm going to clean it up. So mitzad echad, it's worse mitzad echad because it didn't fall yet, right? And when it falls, I'm going to see it. I'm going to be able to clean it up. No one's going to get hurt from the falling. I wasn't worried about that. Just a moment. But mitzad sheni might be better Because if you see lahedger, you're about to have a heter of tiltul muksa there. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's going to happen. Nobody knows bivadai, right? But here, it's bivadai going to happen. You see a tablecloth as you're going. You see it's about to get pulled, and you run over it and save it, right? So I have to wait till it falls. It's a hard thing to be massive. Someone told me that I didn't get a chance to look. It was something that happened on Shabbos with a regular glass, and then I thought of the shaila while it was happening with the muksa glass. Someone told me afterward that he told me that I spoke about the shaila. Somebody told me I spoke about it, and I said over that there's a chelkas yankiv for Breish that speaks about it, and he's meikol, and I don't remember, but I have to take a look. But somebody said that I said this far back then. I remember thinking this far, like all the good stuff comes from somewhere anyway. So it comes from a Breish. What? Yeah, I was thinking that also. There's also baby around. I was thinking that also. That once something breaks, Well, no, the baby wasn't there. That wasn't the issue. That was the issue. I'm saying, let's say a case of where it's that's not the issue. That if the baby could, that's a vada. If the baby might get hit by a piece of glass. Okay. I'm just saying the concept right now. But I don't want to go off the track. How do we get into that? What just happened? Who did it? You did it? Who did it? Was it? No? Who did it? It's you, no? Who was it? It was Zinger? It's Nittel. You're not even allowed to learn. Akapanim. So this mahalach is not going to work. It's not going to work. And yesterday we added insult to injury. We said one more mahalach, but that's it. Once you have this mahalach, it's really checkmate. You're sagarlino saterach over here. Like we're stuck. The last mahalach is the last problem is the mishabura, and this one's the biggest problem because this in Siman Reish Ayin Zayin. It is a big problem here. In Siman Reish Ayin Zayin. Over here, the Shulchan Aruch brings down that you asa leftoyach hadeles. I could read here this one. Ner shemunach achayri hadeles. You have a ner, you have a candle which is on a door, and now you want to open the door or close the door. Asa leftoyach hadeles. You can't open the door. The place can say very, you have to do it very, very slowly and whatever. If you open it faster, then the light is going to go out. The fire is going to go out. So you can't do that. Okay, and right away, the Bialach, I think, over here, he talks about, but you're allowed to do it slowly. Why are you allowed to do it slowly? Because then the fire won't go out. So that means kasha. The door has candles on it. Where's the Bialach? The door has candles on it. Un momento. So there's a few, the Mishabura talks about it a few times here. Let me just find the one, which is ours. He says, I read in the Mishabura. He says, one second. Here, it's in Siv Katan. I'll just read you the Mishabura. It's a little bit easier. Mishabura is in Siv Katan Vav. Zayin. Mishabura says, wait a minute. There should be a problem of tiltul adeles because of the ner hamuksa kavuaba. You're moving the ner. Forget everything else. There's a ner here. You're moving a ner. What are you doing? You're moving a ner. A ner is muksa. It says in Mishabura, hadeles lo yinaseh basis laneir. The deles doesn't become a basis to the ner. Why? Because he chashuva shemeshameshes labayis ubat leetzloi v'loi laner. The door doesn't become muksa. You know why the door doesn't become muksa? So feed the Beis Yehuda. I'll tell you why the door doesn't become muksa. Because the door can't become muksa. Because the door is attached to the ground, right? Of course, the door is not muksa. The Mishabura says no. Theoretically, a door can become muksa. That's not the issue. He says, but what do you want to say? That my life, my chshivas is that I hold up candles. That's your chshivas. You hold up candles. You're a door. Your ikar chshivas is that you're buttled to the house. You're mashamish the house. You're not buttled to the candles. You're buttled to the house, and the house is a davar mutter. So what did the Mishnah Berurah just say? If you're listening with a good ear, the Mishnah Berurah just said that technically a door is taka could be muksa. Mechuber could be muksa. That's what it seems to say over here. What? Sorry? Why? What? I don't think so. It's not a kli. I don't think so. I mean, it can't be muksa. It's not a kli. Let's say the Beis Yehuda. I don't know. The Beis Yehuda, it can't possibly be muksa. It's not shaykh muksa on something that's attached. That's right. I said yesterday from Rav Yashiv. Yashiv is very difficult, right? Yashiv said because all the grass is oimid for kinuach. Stam in the mitzias, that's a difficult mahalach. It's difficult. And every hadas is oimid for smelling. Maybe I'm saying these things, and maybe. And what about the zmayra? But the Zmira, he wanted to use the Zmira. So he wants to use the Zmira. So why is the Zmira Muksa? He wants to use the Zmira. It's only meant for usage. He wants to use the Zmira. What? Rav Yashiv, it could be Muksa. Yeah. According to Rav Yashiv, it's not. I guess the Mishabura should have said something like this. He should have said, grass, b'makim, not everywhere in the world, Rabbi Isai, was grass oimid to go to the bath. I mean, you couldn't walk on grass. I mean, the Mishabura talks in the same simon about walking on grass barefoot. You should say, watch it. I mean, something, I don't know. So yesterday, I suggested a mahalach with fear and trepidation, and now I see it might be a raya barut to this mahalach. I suggested like this. Maybe we could masik like this. Maybe we could say that there's no muksa if something has a makim, like a limited amount of where the idea comes from. Is it Taisus and Bava Kama? I was just thinking right now. Taisus and Bava Kama Davav. He talks about when a building falls. You ever remember this from Yeshiva? When you have some type of a building that falls, the building falls down, and Taisus is trying to figure out there, what is it? Is it a bore or is it like an aish? When it falls. So Taisus has like a svar over there that since there's a certain amount of makim where it permeates that makim, it permeates from here to there. So maybe that's called that's even maybe a bore, because this is the makim of the hezek in that area, from here all the way to there. Right? The same thing with the grass. The grass is something that it has a certain limited amount of space that it moves. That's called it can't move. If whenever you go over here, it comes right back. You go over there, it comes right back. You go there, it comes right back. That's not called it moved. Anything that when you pull it here, it goes right back to there, that's not called tiltal. That's felt in the Maisa tiltal. That's not muksa. That's loy have muksa. Can't be muksa. It's not shaykh muksa on something that you can't move. What does it mean you can't move? Anywhere I go, she goes right back. Anywhere I go, she goes right back. Lefi this mahalach, let's see how everything is miyushiv. Lefi this, grass is not muksa. Lefi this, hadassim are not muksa. Even today. Today also, grass is not muksa. And zmoira, a vine, avada. You take a vine, you put it over there, it stays there. You take a vine, you put it over there, it stays there. Hagufa, that's why they were using the vine to be used for what? To be to shep the vaser. Everything's doing good. What about the door? No, Rabbi Sher? Tell them. What about the door? Other Rabbi Sher? No. A door of Ado. What shaykhs? A door stays open. So this Geven and Diet site, Rabbi said they didn't have swinging doors in those days. In those days, they didn't have swinging doors that go right back and like this. There was no such thing. You see plural of Ilchos Mezuzah, there was no such thing. You see bar, there's absolutely no such thing. You open the door, and the door was over there now. You close the door's there now. Oh, that's a whole different thing. So that could be muksa. Oh, that could be muksa. What, the svar? Svar is niflat the moed. You weren't metaltal. How can you be metaltal? Because it was right back. That's not called tiltal. It's gewaldige svar. So what's gewaldige svar ever said in the history of the world? Was? So much he wasn't here yesterday. We went so much smoother when he wasn't. You listened to this year? You heard all the mentions? It was a good thing you weren't here. No? It would have been terrible. No? It's a gewaldige svara, right? Wait. Was? No, it's lo yave muksa. It's not shaykh muksa. It's gewaldig. Of course it's lo yave muksa. Oh, see this? The light switch. Avada, when I turn the light switch up, it stays. When I turn the light switch down, it stays. So that'll be awesome. Now like this. Now I'm in trouble. Watch this. Now you can have fun. This is where I thought today I was going to come in and be chayzer. This is what I thought. Okay, and that's it. As of about an hour ago, I was going to be chayzer. Which is also, I'd say different Torah on something that you said that was wrong. Okay, it's geshem shemkat drisha kach mekabel schar preacher. Okay, so now came in. I tell you. So now the chandelier, the feed mishabura, you can go back and forth, right? Feed mishabura just because it comes right back to the same place. Right? The feeding mishabura, it's going to be mutter to move the chandelier, right? It's amish nifla, right? So look at this. So now, everyone remember that, okay? We'll come back to this in one moment. Now, Grada, conceptually, I have a makor to this idea. Conceptually, there's a makor to this idea. In Siman Shin Yud Aleph, it talks about a mace, and it talks about what you're allowed to do to a mace on Shabbos. In Shin Yud Aleph, in Sif. Where is this? Sif Zayin. It talks about what the person Chalila has to do with a mace. Well, what's it called? One day we'll have mace day and we'll learn this. This is all Hilchos Muksa of a mace and what you're allowed to do on Shabbos for a mace, what you're not allowed to do on Shabbos for a mace. But a mace is a shtick Muksa. What did David HaMelech, what did Shlomo HaMelech say? Avi David is mutal b'chama, and the dogs are hungry, the Gemara says. What should I do? They told him, no, the dogs are hungry, you got to cut up the meat and give it to the dogs. But the father, that's David Melech Yisrael, he's a shtik muksa. He's a shtik muksa. That said Shlomo HaMelech, it's better to be an Ari Chai, where's the Lashon over there? It's better to be a Kelev Chai than Ari Meis. A Kelev Chai than Ari Meis, David HaMelech, David Melech Yisrael. But Al Kapana, a mace, you're not allowed to move around the mace. A mace, you're not allowed to close his eyes. You're not allowed to close his eyes, even though it's very dangerous. Al Pikabali, you're not allowed to close his eyes. So the Ramah, the Shulchan Aruch, and Siv Zayin, it's all based on a Gemara. It tells you in Gemara Kufnin, it's a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah in Kufnin Aleph in Shabbos. The Mishnah says, what are you allowed to do with a mace? So the Gemara says, Muta losuch mace. You're allowed to take the mace and you're allowed to smear him with like oils. I don't know what they're doing over there, right? And that you're allowed to do on Shabbos. That you're allowed to do. So come to gain. Rabbi Nissen Karelitz, Zechariah Levracha, and he says, wait a minute, terrible. You're not allowed to move a mace. You can't close his eyes. You can't close his mouth. So how are you allowed to go and suck him? Suck him means you're taking oils and this and you're smearing his body and, his body goes up and down. His body goes up and down. The Maisa, when I learned how to do a taira, the body goes up and down. Oh, the body goes up and down. No shaila. No shaila, the body goes up and down. Rabbi Nissen says you have to be doing it in an eidel way that the body won't go up and down. Because you're doing tiltul b'mixus, even though the body's standing still, but tiltul b'mixus is aser. Tiltul b'mixus is aser. That's what he says. You're not allowed to do it, right? Leinish adavar azeh was not said by any of the poskim that lived until Rav Nissen Karelitz. For thousands of years, you read this Gemara, no one knew this. Rav Nissen was megala this tremendous secret. Right? What's the pashut shot in all of the poskim until Rav Nissen? That means until 20 years ago, no one did this. No one knew this. I asked God of the Chaver Kadisha. They told me, Loi haya v'loi nivra. V'zeh lashon. Loi haya v'loi nivra. So what's the answer? What's the answer? A mace is muksa. What's the answer? The answer is pashut like the same thing you're hearing right now. When it comes to an eyelid and you close the eyelid, that's leaving its place. It's going to a new place. It stays there. It's a whole different thing. When you take the body and you press on the body and the body goes right back, that's not called tiltul muksa. That's not called tiltul muksa. That's called you didn't do anything. That's not muksa, shaykh muksa on such a thing. By grass is a chefza that's not shaykh muksa because it always goes back to its place. By a mace, it's not shaykh tiltul muksa. That's why nobody even dreamed of asking the shayla b'chlal. That's the big side in the Mishnah Berurah. The first in the Mishnah Berurah. First in the Paiskim. Just a moment. I didn't get yet to the question. Let me get first the question. It's all chazara of what we said yesterday. Just bring a raya. Then there's another Mishnah Berurah. This Mishnah Berurah is a little bit troublesome. It's a troublesome thing. There's a whole lot of halacha we're going to learn about. Lefi this, what's the din if you want to just run your finger lach through the hair of a dog? Not petting the dog. Not petting the dog. You just want to run your finger lach down. A dog is muksa. We're going to talk about this. Mitzvah Shem, we'll see. But what if you just want to move the hair? What if you want to move the hair? This is something we're going to come back to. This one, I'm not kaveh masmerimin. Because a dog is different because a dog is not attached to the ground. Right? If you attach your dog to the ground, then I'm going to call PETA on you. What PETA? Dogs are people too, or whatever they're called, right? So I'm not. This is right now. This is an unfinished raya to what we're talking about. It is an unfinished raya. So nobody go and pet dogs on Shabbos, even during the week. It's not good. Right? But over here, there's a very, very difficult Shulchan Aruch here. Shulchan Aruch says if your hands get dirty with tit and mud and schmutz and dust. So what do? Mikancha bezanav hasus. Imagine what the world looked like in those days. You used to go to the toilet and wipe yourself on the grass, right? Afterward, your hands are a little bit dirty. You go over to Chves, you go over to Henry, you wipe the tail over there, right? And it's unbelievable. That's what it says over here in Shulchan Aruch. Go over there and wipe. This is on Shabbos. Where is it? Shin Beis Yud Aleph. Shin Beis Yud Aleph. Go wipe your hands on Henry's tail, right? At Henry's tail, okay. Right away, the Beer Lacha starts, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? He asks, what's going on over here? He says, what about Muksa? The horse is Muksa on Shabbos. The horse is Muksa. So the Taisus Shabbos says, we're not talking about a real horse. We're not talking about a real one. We're talking about that the tail was cut off and you have a tail on the bit of a daichik, no? It's a bit of a daichik, right? It's a bit of a daichik. No? So Mishnah Berurah, he says a bit of a daichik. It's a bit of a daichik. He says, Efsher, maybe they only answered the guf balachai and not the hair. Maybe they never answered the hair. Maybe just the balachai itself is answered, not the hair. The loy chashiv kiguf legabe. Now I have to come back to this legabe petting an animal legabe this legabe that. Mitzvah Shem, we're going to come back. It's not the last you heard of this, but this is a remez ladover. It's a remez to that idea of where you can have a concept. What's the vart? Because a tail just goes back and whatever. It's not the actual dog. It's not the actual horse. Okay. Yeah, but so asa that also is muksa. Okay, but that just goes back to its place. Again, it's a slight remez. The raya is what we said by a mace. That's a raya. That's a raya, right? This one we're going to come back to and does. Okay, now watch this. Okay, this is adkan is what we spoke about yesterday, and now you have a little bit more of appreciation, a little more appreciation. But now I'm going to come to a problem in a moment. But as of now, what comes out? This Shabbos, the baby wants the chandelier. You know, why does he want the chandelier? Because you want to get his attention. You're going this way and this way, right? Are you going to be allowed to move the chandelier? Yeah. What if it's not for the baby? The view what you heard so far in this room, it's not for the baby, right? Are you going to be allowed to go like this with the chandelier? Yes? Yes. The view the Shabbos, could you? No. He said it's only a tilted b'mixas. That's only mutter when there's a positive tzarech. Okay, the fee Rabbi Yudayash, it's for sure mutter. Okay, but the fee Amalch, it's good. We answered up Zmoira, we answered up door, we answered up grass. Alt is miyushev. Everything is nifla. It's a simcha rabba from Rechula. What? Maybe I'm a suffix about that, Grata. Maybe could you? I said the other day, could you take something heavy and put it on the grass? Maybe you could learn that maybe it's. I'm a suffix. I'm not sure if that's really real. I'm not sure. Maybe if you do something to the grass that it can't possibly go back. I don't know. What? I'm not sure. It's not. Anyways, that would be tilted. It wouldn't be. Anyways, it'll be mutter. It's only a problem if you're doing it with your hand and not letting it go back, right? So, anyways, it's not something good. But okay, right now, is everybody clear? Is everybody clear? If anything's not clear, everything clear? Okay, watch this. But it's a kasha. That's called you're clear. You just have a kasha. Bez Hashem. We'll get there. Mitzvah. Let's go. Now watch this, because we're going to talk about now. We're getting to Negiyah b'Muksa. Watch. Oh, you're about to have something. Davar nifla now. Okay. Should I start it with your Shaila? Are you allowed to lean on a car? Okay. You're allowed to lean on a car. You're allowed to sit on a car. Now this really be'etzim has nothing to do with what we're talking about, because we're talking about mechuber. We're talking about mechuber. Maybe you can say a car is so heavy, it's considered mechuber. Okay. But right now we talked about one thing today, something that's mechuber. We have a raya from a mace and that's. Now watch this. Are you allowed to touch muksa? You've heard from me many times already the answer to this question. Are you allowed to touch muksa? You're allowed to touch muksa. It's got a shver some sefer. I mentioned that the Chasam Sofer on the first day when we started Hilchos Muksa, I mentioned that the Chasam Sofer says that when a person becomes a halachidik mensch, his ganze mensch is halacha, so then it becomes reality. I told you the story of the Vilna Gaon, that when he touched the shell, he fainted because he moved Muksa. I told you there was a Chasam Sofer. Where was it? In Parshas Azino, I think, right? That Chasam Sofer says, his lashon is when you're negeya. He says when you touch Muksa, it should be like you touched a hot coal. Okay, it's a pella. The halacha l'maisa we paskin. You're allowed to touch muksa. You're allowed to touch muksa, right? Where does it say you're allowed to touch muksa? And you'll see where we're going with this. In our sif, right here, in the same sif, that next sif, whatever, the same sif in sif katan pei beis. So he says like this. He says, listen to this. Are you allowed to touch muksa? Hainu tiltul mamish avaleisha v'leim, to sit on muksa k'she'ein mezizim mekayma v'adei shari. Okay, he says, even if when you're sitting there, you're allowed to sit, because that would be tiltul minatzah. That's no problem. Then he brings umatzasi b'meiri, rakshikaza b'makom she'ein sayrech roi lifresh mizah. Very interesting. It's like an interesting mishnah. I saw the Aruch HaShulchan. He says in Sivkot and Samachas, you're allowed to touch muksa. But why do it if you don't have to? His lashon is, he says, shaloi l'tzayrech lama yasakein. He says, you're allowed to touch muksa, but why should you do it if you don't have to? Interesting. He says, you're allowed to blow muksa. Why do it if you don't have to? Just to show you that Talmud Chacham that knows that, look, I'm allowed to blow muksa. Don't do that. That's what he says. Okay. He says, Yeshiva l'chud shari b'kol inyan. You're always allowed to sit on muksa. So sitting on muksa is not the biggest raya, because that's maybe tiltul begufa. Anyways, sorry. That's when it moves. We'll have to learn that in Mitzvah. So, but Tachlis, the Mishabura Shin Chav Hei. Here, look at Mishabura Shin Chav Hei. I think that one's Mefurish at least. Shin Chav Hei Samich Hei. Let's see. Let's see. So here he's talking about, he says muksa is mutter behana. Now this is something else. It is something else. Here you see that muksa is mutter behana. You're allowed to get hana from muksa. You're allowed to get hana from muksa. Let's see. Shin Yud, what? Ramah in Siv Gimel. The Ramah in Siv Gimel, you can learn a different way, but we'll read the Ramah in Siv Gimel. Ramah says, where's the Lashon? He says, V'chein mutter liga b'menoira shebebeis knesses. Earlier, kol muksa eina asa el betiltel. Aval b'negia ba'alma, b'negia, if you're just touching it, and eina minadadai, and it doesn't move, it's mutter. If you touch the muksa and the muksa doesn't move, it's mutter. Now, the problem in this Ramah is, look in the Shulchan Aruch in Shin Yud and Siv Vav. In Shin Yud Siv Vav, it talks about that if you have something that's asal l'taltalai, like an egg, you have an egg that was born on Shabbos, it's asal l'taltalai, asal litein tachtav kli kadei sheyipol l'soichai. Okay, we spoke about this once. You're not allowed to put something down that the muksa will fall into it, because that's called bittul kli meichana. You're making it that I won't be able to move that item now. Well, we're going to learn these halachas. He says, "Aval mutter likbais alav kli," but you could take you want to save this egg's life. This egg was just born. The poor chicken, she wants to meet her daughter or whatever. So now the egg was just born. So you want to take a cup and put it on top. You're allowed to. You're allowed to save muksa, but just make sure. But when you're taking that cup, just be careful. That you don't, when you're going to go like this, your finger are going to touch the egg, right? Don't touch the egg. You're not allowed to touch the egg, right? Why not allowed to touch the egg? Why not allowed to touch the egg? Anyone know? So comes again the Magen Avram and a lot of Achrayim over here, the Taz, and they say, you know why you're not allowed to touch the egg? Because to touch muksa is only allowed when you're doing it for the sake of heter. But if you're doing it for the sake of muksa, you're not allowed to touch muksa. So when I'm taking the cup and covering the muksa, what am I doing it for? The sake of the muksa. I'm trying to help the muksa. So you're not allowed to touch muksa if it's for the sake of the muksa. That's what the Magen Avram learns. Mishabura says, no, that's not the pshat. No, that's not the pshat. He says, Afal gav de mutter liga be muksa, even though it's mutter to touch muksa. He says, but we're talking about an egg. If you're going to touch it, what's going to happen when you touch the egg? You're going to move the egg, right? The egg is going to start to roll away. So that's why you're not allowed to touch muksa. So Mishabura's sheet is, you're allowed to touch muksa unless she's going to move away. Okay? Unless you're going to day that, you're going to move it. So you're not touch muksa. What about Yenakar? So I have to press the car down. Yishladin, maybe with this new Yisrael, it goes back. Yishladin, because to touch it, that wouldn't be a problem, right? To touch muksa is for sure not a problem. Let's say you want to sit on a rock, a very heavy rock, huge, massive rock on the beach or whatever you want to sit on it. So you have to go like this to sit on the rock, right? So you're touching it, it doesn't move. Let's say a case where it doesn't move. For sure, mutter, are you touching muksa? That rock is for sure muksa, right? The answer is you're allowed to touch muksa. The Magen Avram says you're only allowed to touch muksa when it's for the sake of a heter. Mishabur goes on like that. You're allowed to touch muksa. The only thing you're not allowed to do is you're not allowed to touch muksa when muksa is going to move. Okay? This is halacha l'maisa. It's very simple. Okay? Now watch this. This is where the problems start. There's more. There's a lot of raid here. There's a famous Beis Halevi. You guys like Beis Halevis probably because you're from yeshivas. Should I tell you Beis Halevi? It's a famous thing. There's a famous Rashba in Daf Chav Tes. It's not so much our sugi now. I'll say it b'kitzur. The Rashba in Daf Chav Tes is brought in the Mishabura in Tav Kuf Yud Aleph. Over there, the Mishabura, it's better Mitsugi. It says you're allowed to take something on Yontif, which is muksa, and you're not allowed to take something on Shabbos, which is muksa, and burn it. You're not allowed to burn it. Now, it's not talking that you're picking up the muksa, because that for sure you can't pick up the muksa. It says over there in the Gemara, you're not allowed to burn muksa. You're not allowed to burn muksa. The way the Rashba learns is you're not allowed to burn muksa. Mishabura brings, you're not allowed to burn muksa, right? So Mishabura says, weird lashon there. He says, I don't know if I wrote the lashon. Mishabura is in Taf Kuf Yud Aleph. We don't have any. No one has a chelik here, right? Mishabura says in Taf Kuf Yud Aleph. You have on the computer, no? No. Forget it. No. It's not the Iker Sugi right now. When I get to the Ikasog, I'll say. But over there, the Mishabur and Tav Kufid Aleph and Sif Katim Chav Gimel, he says over there, he says a lashon. It's kimadlik biyadayim. It's a weird thing. You're not allowed to be madlik biyadayim. Muksa. It's a famous Beis Levi. Beis Levi says you're always allowed to touch muksa. You're always allowed to sit on muksa. You're always allowed to walk on muksa. The one thing you can't do is you can't be mechalem muksa. You can't use up muksa. You can't burn muksa. You can't burn muksa. That's a shimush of a nature that uses it up that you can't do. This is a zaytik sugya. It's not our sugya. And Mitzvah Shem will come back to it. But what comes out? What comes out? Watch this. Listen to Mishnah Berurah. Watch this Mishnah Berurah. This is the Mishnah Berurah. When I saw this, did I get nervous? Listen to Mishnah Berurah. Okay? Now we start the shir. Listen to Mishnah Berurah. Reish Ayin Zayin, Sivkatin Yud Tes. Listen to a Mishnah Berurah. Listen to a Mishnah Berurah. Azam Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Talk to Mishnah Berurah. There's a menorah in the base of Knesset. You have here some type of a menorah in the base of Knesset, some type of like a chandelier of sorts. Sound familiar? Some type of a chandelier. Vaneris dolkas alav. And it's got these candles. You know the older ones used to look like a chandelier and it had candles on them, right? So it says, listen to this. Who did mutter liga? The Rama says you're allowed to touch this menorah or whatever. You're allowed to touch it. Now, Kipshuta is talking about on the Amid. That's what the Rama is talking about. On the chazans, with the chazan davens. You're allowed to touch it. Allowed to touch. But even though it's holding muksa and it's a basis to muksa, it's holding up the muksa, you're allowed to touch it. But they have to make sure it doesn't move. Okay. You're not allowed to move muksa. Okay. Watch this. Comes again in the Mishnah Berurah. He says, Hainu b'kfua makom echad. Avalin hitluya. If it's hanging in the air, it's a hanging chandelier. Does it sound familiar? What should he say? What are the next words? He says, if it's a chandelier, asur afilu ligaba. You're not even allowed to touch a chandelier. Why are you not allowed to touch a chandelier? Says the Mishnah Berurah, shebekalian aneya, because it's going to move. It's going to move. Checkmate. Right? Checkmate. Game over. Kalyan aneya. Afilu kvar covered in airs. Even if the fire went out. Cain mashman the Mogin Avram. Cain mashman the Mordechai. Then he says, of course it's Mechaber. Talking about Tzli on the wall. Sure it's Mechaber. What's Mechaber? No. Who cares? No such thing. Mechaber. There's no such thing as Muksa. What did Kallus try to sell you as a luxury? Huh? What did I try to sell you today? That if you move something and it goes back to the same place, there's no Muksa. Right? No? Huh? Says it, Mishnah Berurah says, Taluya, hanging. A hanging with it? Sure it is. Huh? That's what it means? Yeah? So what if I tell you the Orza Ruin side says it was attached to the roof? Mamish. I tried that. I tried everything, Attached to the roof, mamish. Huh? But wait, we're not done yet. Wait. He tells you like this, the Mishnah Berurah. He tells you, go and look in Siman Reish Samechei. Okay, listen. Mitzvah l'shmoya l'divrei Chafetz Chaim. Whatever he says, that's what I do. So I go to Siman Reish Samechei. Now it's about to get lebedik. In Reish Samechei in Sivkatin Yud, Mishnah Berurah says like this. He says, it's the same sugya sort of. You're allowed to touch muksa. Mikol makam asa, you got to be careful. Pen yisnadnid ksas b'negi asoi. It might move with the negia. You might move it with your negia. Okay? Says Mishnah Berurah, mashma bizeh, that beloich shash atoya, ein lachash mishum muksa of nidnud. He says, what? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read it properly. The Rama says that if you have a candle, you have to be careful not to touch this candle. Why? Because if the fire is going, so then the oil is going to go, and then you're going to cause the wick to take more oil. So the Mishnah Berurah says, it sounds like the only problem is something with kibui and havara, because it's causing it to take more oil, that the wick is going to take more oil. So it's, why not? Kasev Magen Avram. It's got to be an ukimta. It has to be, we're talking that there was a davar, a heter there or something like that, because otherwise it would be muksa. Then he says, He says, Avaliga, a menorah tzliya aser. Afilu eina ner taicha. No way. And he says, Ayin bir alacha. Listen to this. Says the Bir Halacha, Amnam ba'or zarua. I looked inside the or zarua, says the Bir Halacha, and that's where the Ramah comes from. And Matsasi, dafilo negeya mamish b'menoyra tluya is mutter. It's called tiltul min hatzad. What does this mean? Let me explain to you what happened here. I looked in the or zarua. Let me tell you what's going on here. To move a chandelier according to the Mishnah Berurah on Shabbos, it's mutter. Mutter. To do it for the kid, mutter. To do it even not for the kid, mutter. You know what the Mishnah Berurah is talking about? He's talking that you have a chandelier, olden style chandelier, fancy people with electricity, fancy people. In the olden days, Nishkaven can't electricity. First guy that tried to do electricity, he's no longer with us. He's the Olam Emes, right? Well, they're all in the Olam Emes, right? He had a chandelier in those days. On the chandelier were little holders, and they put candles inside them. The only question the Or Zarua says is, he says, when you're going to shake that chandelier, it's tiltul min hatzad. What's he referring to? The candles, the lit candles. You're moving the candles. So he says, okay, well, that's tiltul min hatzad, and tiltul min hatzad is mutter if it's a tzarech davar mutter. But the actual chandelier, that doesn't bother him because that's mechuber. So what about by us, our chandeliers, everything is mechuber. It's a whole one big, it's connected. A light bulb on Shabbos, you got to take out a light bulb on Shabbos, that's soiser, because it's mechuber to the karka. You got to put one in on Shabbos, that's boinet, it's a part of the karka. So Mamela, if you take a chandelier and shake it on Shabbos, bus it does is mechuber. There's no muksav, according to the Mishnah Berurah, you're allowed to shake it, that's not a problem. The only thing, even though it's an H, but it's attached to the ground. You found an unbelievable H. You found an H that's attached to the ground that doesn't eat up the whole entire building. What is that? That's mechuber, that's mutter. That's what the Mishnah Berurah is saying. Masha Einke, what did the Mishnah Berurah say? Says the Or Zarua. When you touch this thing, which is attached, it has candles. It's candles. So now you're moving the candle tiltul min hatzad, because the candle's actually moving because it's not attached to the ground. Candles aren't attached. The candle's sitting inside there. So how you let him move the candle? Tiltul min hatzad. You're indirectly moving the candle. So now it's only mutter if it's a tzarech davar mutter. What? Sorry? If you ain't able to like it, yeah, it's a tiltul min hatzad. Whoa, slowly. So he brings the Magen Avram in Siman Reish Ayin Zay. The Magen Avram argues on the Mishnah Berurah. And then Mishnah Berurah says, go and look in Reish Samachay. And in Reish Samachay tells you, go and look in the Bir Halacha. And he tells you the Magen Avram had a wrong printing. That's what he writes there. He himself, the Mishnah Berurah, would hold that you're allowed 100% to move the chandelier because it's attached. The only issue could be is if it has candles, whether they're lit, whether they're not lit, and then the only issue is going to be tiltul min hatzad. Am I being clear? Now, you see from the Mishnah Berurah that he's willing a little bit to be soivel the Magen Avram. He doesn't say, this is Magen Avram, and the Magen Avram is wrong, I don't agree to Magen Avram. It sounds like he had it sad that I could have agreed to the Magen Avram. Who could tell me why? Anybody have it sad? He had it sad that even though by grass I disagree with the Magen Avram, but here I could agree with the Magen Avram. You know why? Maybe, I was thinking maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe I was thinking that maybe. It's a shot in the dark. It's not muchach this. He doesn't really accept the Magen Avram. You see, he says, go and look in Reish Samachay and go and look in the Bir Halacha, and you will see that it's not emes. I don't agree with the Magen Avram. And that the only issue here with the chandelier is the candle, and it's tiltul min hatzad. But he had it sad he was able to soivel the Magen Avram. You know why? Maybe because he has svara. Grass is something that was born on the ground, you know? So his svara maybe held was when something was, was never muksa. It was always like that. But let's say you have a kli, which is muksa. A chandelier is muksa. And then you attach it to the ground. That the Mishnah Berurah might have had it sad that even I would agree that such a thing is muksa. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? It could be that when it came to a chandelier, he was willing to be soivel the Magen Avram. You see in Reish Ayin Zayin, he brings the Magen Avram. He just tells you, go and look in Reish Samachay. Why? Maybe a chandelier is even the Mishnah Berurah could agree to a chandelier because it's bad muksa, a chandelier, right? You attached it to the ground. So that's already a chiddush. That idea attaching it to the ground, I remove from it, it's shei muksa. Chandelier is for sure muksa, right? It's definitely a muksa to guide it, right? Now you attach it to the ground. So I could have heard a svara that you can't go and make something muksa. It's still a kli. It's a kli. It's not even like a door. A door is not a kli. A door is a part of the structure of the house. Machenkin a chandelier, I could have heard. A chandelier is a light. You attach the light to the ground, right? You attach the hammer to the ground. I could have heard Mishnah Berurah was willing to be soivel that svara. It wouldn't have fregged up everything we spoke about. Grass is attached to the ground, was born on the ground, and that's never had a movement more than its amount of how far the grass goes. So there, the Mishnah Berurah is not willing to be soivel the Magen Avram. But when you have a kli, and also by a door, there's nothing to discuss. The Mishnah Berurah holds. Why? Because the door stays open, and therefore, that's why she could be muksa. A chandelier. The truth is, now that you said the svara by chandelier, maybe we could say that's shot by the door also. So maybe you could say by a door, it used to be not attached. Maybe, I don't know. But again, let's make a sikon. Grass, this, what comes out, grass is not muksa. And you could run your fingers through the grass. And it doesn't matter if in Ramat Eshkol they use the grass as their toilets. And it doesn't matter if the cows graze over here. This grass is not muksa. And that's the psak of the Mishnah Berurah. Grass is not muksa. You can run your fingers through the grass on Shabbos. The Rebbe. Number two, the Zmoira, anything that doesn't go back to its place, das is muksa. Das is muksa. How it's muksa? Why is it different than a twig? And it doesn't have a specific area that it stays in and doesn't leave that area. Grass is not muksa. Zmoira is yes muksa. Number two. Number three is a door. A door for sure. That you have to don. Maybe a door that swings back into place. Yesh ladin. Maybe you have enough community. You have a. What'll be enough kamina? Because anyways, the door is never going to be muksa. Anyways, it doesn't really make enough kamina because we're going to say the door will never be basis anyways. There's not really enough kamina. You have a pocketbook hanging on a door, right? So anyways, we're going to let you open and close the door because no matter what, the door is never going to be muksa because she's never going to be a basis because you always have that svar. Sorry, one moment, let me finish this on that thing, Mamish, or what? Oh, we're getting the way. A chandelier. The way chandelier works is the way the 2020 chandelier. What do you have over there in Africa? You still have what? With the candles over there? No, say that. So if you have the chandelier that has candles, but they have mamish candles in it, and it hangs. So then it's going to be, when you touch it, it's going to be mela move. And then it's only going to be mutter tilta minutes sad the tzarich davar mutter. So, like for example, if you're davening at the stender like this, and and mamela it shakes, so then that's fine, right? Because that's indirect movement of the muksa. The tzarich what? The tzarich the davening or whatever, that wouldn't bother us. Right? You have a chandelier and you want to go like this for the kid, so that the kid should be able to follow the fire. Mutter lefi the Mishnah Berurah. Mutter, lefi the Or Zarua. Mishnah Berurah brings the Magen Avram. He does bring the Magen Avram. I can't say it's so 100% in the Mishnah Berurah, but he brings the Or Zarua that it's only tilta minatzad. So tilta minatzad tzarich davar mutter would be mutter. If you want to do it for the kid, it's mutter. If you want to do it stam, lefi the Mishnah Berurah aser. But the chandelier in 2020, which is attached, and the light bulbs are attached, and they're screwed in and everything. So here, the Mishnah Berurah will be mekel, that you can move it for no reason at all. Now, should someone do this? I don't think it's kedai, because first of all, the Magen Avram argues, and the Mishnah Berurah brings the Magen Avram, and you see from the Mishnah Berurah when he brings the Magen Avram that he's soivel the Magen Avram, like the svara I said. It could be he could have heard a svara. Lule he found it in the Or Zarua. He was willing to be soivel that the Magen Avram is going to agree. That I'll agree to the Magen Avram, and it was only by grass, because grass was born on the ground. So therefore, that's where we reckon. Just a moment. But Mashen came a chandelier, which was originally a kli, and now you attached it. That far, you could have heard the Mishnah Berurah would agree to the Magen Avram. So if somebody wants to ask me, if you see somebody moving it on Shabbos, I don't think you have to be meicha. If you want to know, should you do it? Probably not. Do you want to know, should you be machmer on grass? I don't know what to tell you. You have all these other mahalchim in the Mishnah Berurah. Right? I'm telling you that the mahalch that we're saying shtims with the Mishnah Berurah. If you can move grass with your fingerlach on Shabbos without any cheshbon. What? Sorry? That's what we didn't talk about. That's the whole sugya. It's a very, very big sugya. It's a shem. It's a very, very difficult sugya. I'm not talking about that. What? Switch. Lefi what I'm saying is switch is aser. Switch is aser. Lefi what I'm saying switch is aser. What? Lefi what I'm saying, you're allowed to take that dasim and go like this on Shabbos, 100% mutter. What? It depends on, it could be a problem of shimash. I don't know what I'm saying. What? No, it has to be under 3 tefachim. That's a different shimash. They have to be, no. Hadasim are like kana marakim. Sorry. Hadasim are like kana marakim. That's what it says, right? Hadasim is Hadas mechober mutar aviach boy. L'shayach l'megzer shem yakitz. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You're allowed to take a hadis in your hand and smell it. Right? Wait a minute. What's a rose in Lashon HaGemara? Roses. What? Lashon HaGemara, Lashon HaTorah. Very. Yeah. Okay. No, it's a hadis. Fine. You feed this. You can take a hadis. What else do you want to do? You got to be careful. Don't forget, a shtamshis is still also. You're not allowed to get your hat even off of a bush. You're not allowed to be mishtamish with an elam. That's a separate thing. What? Come again? Yeah, no, this is kind of Moroccan. Yeah, this is kind of Moroccan. Yeah. The car itself, you have a different issue. That this svara that we're saying from the Mishnah Berurah, that svara, I'm not 100% convinced that it's a global svara. I'm not 100% convinced that something that goes back into its place is a global svara. It's true I brought a raya from Mace. Maybe there could be a different malach Mace. So I'm not willing yet. And it's Hashem. We'll talk more. In the meantime, if a person wants to just sit on a car, that's for sure mutter. That's a sure mutter. To take his hands and push it down in order to get up. Let's see. Anyways, It's probably, what's a car? A car is anyways probably just like a kli shemach l'yisr, we said, right? So it's a kli shemach l'yisr. Just a moment. It's probably a kli shemach l'yisr. The tzarech gufay. I need to use the car in order to get on, right? So the stomach, anyways, is probably mutter to do. I mean, it's not a very fine tzura and a hug on Shabbos to sit on a car, but the stomach it's mutter. Sorry?
Depends how heavy you are.
What's the shayla?
The car can stay there.
No, but you have to press down. Is that clear? So now we can start the show. Oh my goodness, what happened today? No, this is mamish officially. We did nothing today. No, this is mamish official. No, wait, what? That's can't be. What? Oh my goodness, we mamish did nothing. Is everything we said clear now? Rabbi Gottman's clear now. What? A chandelier. You allowed to move a chandelier in Shabbos?
Why is the old school chandelier not a bus?
My car is a kli shemach l'heter. Anyways, you're saying, right? My car is anyways. We spoke about this. My car might be a kli shemach l'heter. Okay, but even if it be a mashtal yisr, anyways, so you have that svar. That's at least a tzarech kufa. I'm using it to propel myself in order to be able to sit on the car, right?
Why is the old school chandelier not a bus?
The old school chandelier is not a buses because she herself, he means the hefts of the chandelier, the shand, not the leer. You understand what he's asking? Not the candle part. He's saying the candles are sitting, so she's holding up the candles. The Tarot says because she's mechuber lekarka, she can never be muktzah. The most question that we can have is tiltum min hatzad. You're indirectly moving the candles. But the door, because the door is something which is very important. What's the difference between a door and the door and the chandelier? The door is mishamish the house. He has a much bigger job. Sorry?
What's the chandelier do? It's not holding up the candle.
No, fine. So his whole tachlis in life is yes to hold the candle. A door, you can't say that. The whole tachlis of a door in life is why it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. By a door goes there, the Mishnah Berurah is very, very troubled. The door stays. So now the Mishnah Berurah is bothered. If the door stays, it's muksa. It's like the Mishnah Berurah no shaykh is. It's not a basis because I'm there to be mishamish the house. A door is there to be mishamish the house. A door is not there to be mishamish the muksa. You can't say that's my life, my job. When it comes to a chandelier, there the Mishnah Berurah said, no, it doesn't go anywhere. So what do you want to ask me? If there's a candle and he's holding up the candle, yes, he holds up a candle, but who cares? He's not muksa. He doesn't do anything else. A shand, not the leer, right? The shand does nothing else except for hold the candle. So then it should have been a basis. It should have been muksa. But that's the Mishnah Berurah. It's not muksa. You know why? Because it never moves. Because it goes right back to the same place. It always goes back to the same place. So then the only question was on the candle. Is that clear? Boki, is it clear or not? Clear? All right, I guess you're all free to go. I don't know what happened today. No, it's a Pella. Huh? No. You